So thank you for having me, and thank you for taking a little time out to come
You know
and
what? I
chop it up.
really thought a lot about what I wanted to talk to you about because I've been following your career for a long time and I've seen you go up and down and everything that you've gone through. But I feel like through all of it, you remained constant in that you remained positive through it all. I mean, you've had some situations where you could have broke wild and just got real crazy on people, but you haven't. Like you stayed true to who you were and positive, and this spirit that you have about you. I want to talk about like where did that come from? Like where is your foundation, and where did that start from? Because you said that you really didn't have a father in your life. Like you came from NOLA. You were born there and you raised in Atlanta. So where does that foundation? Where does your strength and your stability come from? Where?
Well, first of all, it comes from something that I can never really explain. I don't know if it's called God or Allah or Buddha or whatever, but I do think that I was really born with a spirit, that has been with me, that has watched over me. And a lot of times when I didn't even know how to watch over myself, and when I can actually put that spirit in a human form, that would be my mother, that would be my grandfather, my grandmother, who helped to raise me, because my father was murdered when I was a little boy. So, just kind of seeing how my mom operated growing up, going to school, working jobs, raising me, taking time out to support me, to be my biggest fan at the same time, having five other siblings to raise and to teach and to nurture. It just always kind of reminded me that, you know, anything that I'm doing in my life, it is not just me there. It's all the people that have ever helped me, that have ever taught me, that have ever gave a shit about me, that have helped me to get to that point. It's like even though I'm having these conversations with y'all, this is like kind of like my loved ones speaking through me to try to connect with y'all because fortunately without so many other people, I wouldn't be able to develop, to grow, to be the kind of person I am now, which I think is important to always keep in perspective that it's always this life in every day, the things we do. A lot of times they're a lot more bigger than us than we give it credit for. So, with that in mind and the fact that I've been through some things that I'm not proud of, but I don't regret at the same time. When I was working on my first album, Southside, I got in trouble. I went to jail. I was selling weed to my classmates. I had a warrant out for I had a warrant out for my arrest. I got caught with a pistol, and I was 17, running around,
In them
and
streets, right?
and fortunately, I was young enough to not have to have an adult charge. So it gave me an opportunity right before I turned 18 to really make a decision with my life. And that's when I met Irv Gotti. I moved to New York. And then I started to make my first album. And, with all of that being, put into perspective of just sometimes how things line up for a person, I think it would be blasphemous for me to not acknowledge the fact that a lot of my greatest accomplishments are sometimes not my ideas. It's either coming from somewhere maybe up there or from the person, my neighbor. So, yeah.
I was really excited just to talk to him, and this is what I was channeling all day, just kind of it being like spiritual hour with Lloyd. I feel like you have come so far, and just I've been watching your interviews and keeping up on what you've been doing, and you talk a lot about mental health and mental health of people in your life and mental health of African Americans and just in people in general. And I want you to share your experience with. You said that you had a sibling or someone in your life, close in your life, that was battling depression. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed because mental health for a lot of people is like, oh, we don't talk about it. We don't want to get help. Like physical body health, we're starting to catch up on that. But mental health is something different. It's very, very important. I just want you to touch on that a little bit.
Well, I think just like we are as a people, we are interconnected. It's like if you drink coffee in the morning, somebody in some other country made that coffee. If you make a bowl of rice, someone in some distant continent made that rice for you to eat. You know what I mean? So we all, in everything we do, I learned that from Martin Luther King. He taught me that everything is interconnected. So just be mindful that you aren't always as standalone as you would like to believe, you know? And with that being said, I think that mental health and physical health is so interconnected sometimes that we don't give it enough acknowledgement, you know. And my message for my little brother, my youngest brother, who battled a very serious anxiety and a manic depression bout, he still fights it every day, you know. I thought to myself that he was dope because he would actually come out and say, "Hey, I'm fucking depressed." You know what I mean? Like I'm not happy about something or I'm having an issue. Whereas so many times in my life and in a lot of things, a lot of other people's lives, I imagine we would just kind of hold on to it, you know, keep it to ourselves, be kind of embarrassed that somebody might feel like we're less of something by exposing ourselves. But he had the courage at a young and early age to say, hey, I'm feeling a certain kind of way and I'm not able to deal with it by myself. I need some help, you know? And so anytime I would speak to him, I would almost start seeing my own reflection. Like, could I do the same thing? Am I that courageous of a person, of a man, of a brother to be able to do that, you know? And how do I want to help him? What is the best way for me to participate in his journey? And I just encourage him as much as possible. I tell him, look, if you get bored, if you have too much idle time on your hands, you know, if you start to get fidgety, call me. We'll go for a run. And that was one thing. The other thing was I stopped eating a lot of things 5 years ago. So I've been very, very, very strict about my diet. I'm not one of those preachy guys, though, like, you know, I want you to see this documentary type of shit. You know what I mean? It's not like that. No, no. It's just like I just wanted to start challenging myself.
This is got so real on Tuesday. It got so real for a lot of people when Trump was elected. So, what I know
I do that sometimes when I'm
you're
feeling
looking
something.
at me, you're looking at me, and you're making that face. So I was looking past the face and trying to focus on what I was trying to say. But I mean, please give us some insight on how we deal with this. How do you deal with that? Like,
Well, whether you like to believe it or not, it's not the end of the fucking world. You know what I'm saying? We all got to
true.
go to work tomorrow. We all got to raise our kids the right way. And we still got to keep what is good in our hearts and hope that that spreads and pollinates. Now, this is my thing. This is a wake up call for anyone who feels like there's bigotry or misunderstanding in the world, for anyone who realizes what fear can do to people. You know, because fear is always the greatest hindrance of any kind of communication or understanding or togetherness. So I just feel like, you know, if you really care, if you upset, if you did, especially if you thought that it didn't matter for you to participate in the process, awaken yourself, open your mind, you know, and it starts with you. The ignorance ends with you today, like right now, so that next time you don't have no excuses, you know, because, you know, my whole thing was on the last day before Election Day, Hillary Clinton's campaign reached out to me and asked me to participate in the last rally in Las Vegas, which was one of the swing states of Nevada, battleground states, I mean. And they said they loved the song True. And so I showed up to support people to vote, not really so much to take a side, because that's not my thing. I don't believe in good and bad or right and wrong. I believe that you do what is best, you know, in your mind and your heart for you. Now, for me, that is to keep in mind everyone else in their well-being and the well-being of maybe my children one day. But it's not my job to tell you what's right for you. My job was to encourage my brothers and sisters who are young and frustrated and feel disenfranchised to just participate, because my thing is, whether you show up to vote or not, whether Donald Trump is the president or not, if you didn't participate, you can't say nothing. And also, if you didn't participate, you will be affected whether you vote or not. Your children will be affected. Your mama gonna be affected. So I just think if you really care, unfortunately, you have to participate, because keep in mind how many of our ancestors in here, whether you Hispanic, Native American, Black, European, because they came over here for religious freedom. No matter who you are, somebody in your history has 9 times out of 10 given something of their life. They have died and fought and bled for the opportunity just to participate. So now we have the opportunity to participate and we don't show up. And now we upset because the election was decided by 1% of a vote in one state. I get that, a lot of us don't really want to care, but fortunately, you know, we have to sometimes. And I will say this too. I am just baffled by the fact that we elect a president for every single individual who will create policies for every individual. It's not by state, it's not by county, but for every person, and the general population just can't decide that. Why is it split up into electorate? What is that? What is a fucking
Electoral
electorate
college, yeah,
college?
yeah.
I don't know anyone that attended electorate college. Who got a scholarship to that shit? No, nobody. They don't even have a fucking basketball team.
It's the spiritual gangster right here.
Yeah,
Spiritual gangster.
I just kind of am. That is probably the most disheartening thing, is that I know, someone actually got the majority of our support, as individuals, but yet and still, it's a game that has to be played. And I don't like the idea that games have to be played with people's lives and their families' lives. So the only way to change anything is two things. One, to start to change yourself, so that you
Number
are
one. First.
so that you become a reflection of the change that you demand, and then to participate in the process, which for us is to show up to vote, and not just to vote for the president because they spent $500 billion for us to see that the presidents are running. And but nah, in 2 years, when the power pendulum starts to shift in the Congress, which is where people didn't show up for Obama, and then it becomes much harder to get any progress done. That's just it. And it's just like 2 days every fucking 2 years that we have to show up. And unfortunately, on top of the fact that at least where I'm at in Georgia, you know, you are kind of born into some craziness, generationally. But we don't even want to go. I just don't get it.
Okay. I never knew that. I knew I would not have a problem getting him to talk and open up, and but we're here to talk music, right? Music.
We're
We
here
want
to
to talk
talk.
about music.
We're here to talk soul, man.
Talk about soul?
Yeah, we're here to talk about life.
Life.
Yeah.
And okay, you have an early Christmas present coming for everyone. And is that true? True.
That is true.
That is true.
It is, and it's
The-
called True.
The EP is coming on December 9th. Y'all ready for that? Okay, now I know you've been talking a lot about how you're doing this music and you're just speaking your truth through your music and stuff. So, but I want to know, like, are we going to be missing the Southern Playboy music? The kind, like, is it all like the new thing that you're doing, or are we going to see a little bit of that Freaky Lloyd that we all love so much? Just a little, just like maybe one song on there, the Freaky Lloyd, I was listening to Valentine on the way over here. That's like one of my favorite songs by you. So I was like, man, is this EP just is it gonna be like true, like, just going into your your soul, or are we gonna hit some freaky Lloyd? Come on, give me something. Stop looking
I
at me
got a
like that.
funny
Everybody.
Valentine's story. I'll tell
You
you
okay?
later if it's
You tell me
funny.
later.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But Freaky Lloyd is definitely gonna arrive at some point.
That's all I wanted to
No,
know.
no. Let me say
Because there's
this.
5 songs, right?
It's 5 songs.
Uh
It's
huh.
just it's a passion project, if you will. It's just kind of like when you put your toe in the pool. Ooh, this shit cold. I ain't ready yet. But if it feel good, I'll just jump all the way in, and then we'll have a different conversation. But True was never meant to be what it is becoming. It was just me kind of yearning to express myself through music. It wasn't me thinking this is gonna be my comeback and this is my single because I really wasn't stressing over that. You know, I really was more caring about if I do make music, how will it affect people in a way that can last through the I call it the fast food, if you will. You know, so I my thing was while everybody else is up serving McDonald's, I'm gonna be in here cooking up the soul food, you know, and I just had to wait for the right moment. But True was just a therapy session for me. It was the first time I recorded in a big studio in 3 years. The last thing I had did was like Childish Gambino and Jacquees, and then I stopped recording. I helped my sister finish medical school. You know, was there when my niece was born. I went back to high school and got my GED.
GDA.
You know, because I'm smart. I'm educated, all right? And yeah, I just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to not be chasing anything, to not be a part of the rat race, which it can become sometimes, and to just really enjoy my life, which has never really been all mine. Anytime I ever recorded music, it's never been like L Dog or L Boog, you know, it's just Lloyd. So that is who, and that is
Goldie, though.
yeah, no,
Goldie.
no, but I never really released music under a moniker. It's really an extension of me. Like when you see me, it's me. It's not a costume, if you will, and that's cool. But I've never really had that.
I
So
know, but you're okay. You have every person has many sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the spiritual gangster. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're like talking. You know, you're talking from your heart, but you drop so many f bombs, and you know, like you were cursing your way all the way through it. So it's like, you know, like you have different sides. You know, no one is like perfect. Well, stop looking at me like that. Oh my God. You know what I'm
Friday is an
saying?
F bomb.
Stop. You know what you said. You know what you said.
What I said, you can say it. Go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it. All right, all right, all right, all right.
I can't do it, you know. I'm on the radio, so, you know. Yeah.
Are we live? Oh my gosh. Mama gonna
I'm
beat
in
me
a
when I get
certain
home.
mode. I put myself in a certain mode where you just don't do it. You
No,
know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. It's not ladylike, is it?
What the fuck you talking about? Okay, well, just give it up for Lloyd. Give him a round of applause.
Well, I was just saying that I never expected True to be single, and it's not something that I ever expected to be even on the radio.
But
But in my past, you was asking me, is this gonna be like the standard quote for me? And in my past, if you listen to my music, like Southside, I've always been able to have little opportunities of introspection, like a song called "My Life" or "Yesterday," and that those have really been my proudest moments as a songwriter. They just never was actually on the radio. So the fact that that is what you're hearing, I'm not sure if that's where I'll stay. I don't think I'll live there
I
forever.
mean, there's records like, I mean, that weren't on the radio, like Sexapade and everything. Like you know, that we We like those records.
Okay.
We don't want you to stop. You see what I'm saying?
I
Like
see
we
where
need
this is
those.
going.
We need those records, from you. Like you need Sexcapade, right? You need those records.
Well, Tuesday. Well, not Tuesday, but December the 9th.
December 9th.
Yeah, I guess
Will
we'll
there
find
be
out
like
what's
one or
going
two?
on.
Be something on there,
I
right?
can't give you the
Come
secret
on
sauce.
now. Come on.
I can't tell you what's in the
Give
sauce.
us something. Give us something. Well,
I mean, you'll
he
see.
is gonna sing a